She cannot possibly think we are that stupid. Bridget Phillipson, ironically, as Education Secretary, is insulting your intelligence, in my personal opinion, of course, when she is ostensibly trying to take credit for that which came about during a Conservative government, and the effects that she's now talking about really have nothing to do with her or her Labour government. Not her government, but the Labour government, you know what I mean. So I might do a few short snippet videos here on things that I see coming about and posts that I feel are misleading, because I feel that that is a bit of a public service of mine to let you know what I think. You don't have to agree with me, and they're all my opinions, of course, but I will tell you why I think these things. So if you do like that from an independent barrister, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm so grateful to you all subscribing and jumping on this train that is the independent mind and thought, which I hope to share with you. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. But before I even do that, because she doubled down on it, but even before I do that, let me show you a broad and blatant hypocrisy that plays out in Parliament. Now, many people in the comment section are saying that I should go into politics, etc. I thank you all for your kind comments in doing that. One of the reasons I haven't really ever thought about it is because it's just a bit of a shouting match within Parliament. And I don't really like that. I like to just have straightforward conversations, get straight down to the facts, and something is or isn't the case, and we can prove that. That's what I do in court as a barrister, and that's how I like to assess things. And so when someone complains about something, I always say, well, what actually happened? What actually are we complaining about here? And so here's an example of one reason that I've never yet thought about going into politics. I'm not ruling it out completely, but one reason I've not yet gone into politics. This post here, again from Bridget Phillipson, I'm throwing it in here because we're talking about her, and bearing in mind she's a person in public office, so she's open to scrutiny, probably a higher level of scrutiny than most ordinary individuals are. She says, plenty anger on the Tory benches, little by way of ideas. Now there's three or four things here, but let's break one or two of them out of here. First of all, I'll play you the clip in a minute, and you'll see the pure irony that's at play here. She's accusing the Tory bench of being angry about her bill, which in many respects is destroying what academies stand for. But she was so angry when she wrote this that she wrote it in such haste that she wrote plenty anger instead of plenty of anger. And so that just illustrates, we call that leaking. Now, typos are typos, and I don't normally like to pick people up on typos unless they're picking me up on something, and I say, well, you're making typos, so, you know, let's all be honest here. But plenty anger proves that she was angry when she typed this. Secondly, little by way of ideas. Well, you're in government now, so if you're in government, it should be you that's implementing the ideas, no? And by the way, the opposition is there to keep you in checks and balances. The opposition is there to say, here's what we don't like about the bill that you're proposing, or whatever the case might be. And various other things here. I won't go too much into this, which is, I think it's a disgraceful statement here, still protecting uniform racketeers. So I think that's a bit of a disgraceful statement, but let's get straight to it. Let me play you the clip, bearing in mind she's accusing the Tory bench of being angry here. Listen to this.
Mr. Speaker, there was an awful lot in that, but very little about how we deliver higher standards for our children. And this is what the bill is all about. The only people in hook to vested interests are the party opposite, more interested in defending school uniform racketeers and the private schools lobby.
Now, just look at the mannerism, the anger, the fact she is really angry here. And I just think this is entirely unnecessary. But the pure irony here is she's accusing the Tory bench of being angry whilst being angry herself, and spouting it on here on X as well. So angry in so much haste that she misses words out. But enough about that. Let's move to what this video was really about. And it was this one here, which was posted yesterday morning. She says, new, the first apprenticeship stats since Labour entered government have been released. Up are the starting positions, up is the participation, and up are the achievements. Labour is rewiring our skills system to unlock opportunity and drive growth. Let's break this down, as I usually do. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, because I don't expect all of you to be familiar, most of you probably are, but for those of you that don't know, apprenticeships are an on-the-job learning where you can earn some money whilst learning in the job. You can get qualifications, you can get the skills, develop the skills, and ultimately you enhance your overall career prospects. That is essentially what an apprenticeship is. And there are subsidies and funding and all sorts of stuff available to assist companies in taking on apprentices. And it's an amazing thing for people to learn and improve their skill set. That said, she claims that Labour is rewiring the skills system to unblock opportunity because she said that these statistics show that the starts are up, participation is up, and achievements are up. These are various metrics that they measure the success of apprenticeship programmes. However, there's a problem with this. Now, first of all, a lot of people seized on this post to say that the release of data was from the previous year, i.e. the year before Labour came into government, and quite rightly, that had nothing to do with Labour. But Bridget Phillipson then doubled down and said, for those using the wrong statistics, including the Leader of the Opposition, who really doesn't need to get a grip of the detail, she says, I mean, there's no need for this sort of really nasty comment here. Because actually, when Bridget Phillipson then refers to this set of figures here, which is a different set of figures because there was two release of figures, this one does relate to when Labour was in power. However, it's still not as simple as that, because when we look at the data that she's talking about, which quite rightly it is for the period from August 2024 to October 2024, so quite clearly Labour were in government at this point. However, measuring those statistics from August, September and October of 2024, in my personal view, has little to nothing to do with the Labour government and little to nothing to do with Bridget Phillipson. There may, I accept, be a small amount of influence on businesses to say, well, we will take on these apprentices because of things that Labour are doing, perhaps. However, I still say, and I'll say why, I don't think that has anything to do with Labour at all. And that is because of when you apply for these apprenticeships. Now, this is the Education Hub blog on gov.uk, how to find and apply for an apprenticeship. So if some of you are looking for a new thing or an advancement of your skills, a new direction in life, this is a great way to go. So my video doubles down in a number of ways to help you here. Go check it out. You might find something that you might just fancy having a go at. But how to find and apply for an apprenticeship. But the important thing here is when to apply. And you'll see where I'm going in a minute. So if we pop on to this page, which is the Teacher Degree Apprenticeship, how does it work and when to apply? Trainee teachers will soon be able to gain a degree through apprenticeship instead of through the traditional university route and going into the profession. So you can go and work within a school, and whilst you're working there, you learn the skills and you can acquire this degree by going through this apprenticeship. But as I said, the important bit is when you apply. And when you apply, subject to approval, schools will be able to start recruiting apprentices from autumn 2024, with the first trainees beginning the programme in 2025. So now you'll see where I'm going. So from the autumn 2024, which is when Labour was in government, the schools there will be able to start recruiting these apprentices, but they will begin in 2025. So those statistics, obviously not reported yet. They'll be reported later this year. And so generally, when to apply for an apprenticeship, this is taken from Total Jobs for credit. The best time to apply is obviously when applications open, which is usually between November and January for a September start date. So just highlighting that for you for a moment. If someone is starting an apprenticeship in September or October or even August perhaps, but most of those, they open between November and January for start the following year. And yes, granted, whilst September is the most common start time, apprenticeships can start at various times throughout the year. So you will find some that start in February, that start in March, April, that they've usually been opened and advertised in December or January. I'll give you some examples in a moment. So if those are starting in other times in the year, they're generally open for registration or application in November onwards. So most of these apprenticeships will be opening in November. Ergo, the vast majority of the statistics referred to by Bridget Phillipson for this quarter, in these statistics here, between August, September and October, the vast majority of those will have been applied for the previous year, i.e. they've got nothing to do with the Labour government. And yet, when we go back and she doubled down on these statistics, she is claiming the success of all of this, when frankly it's nothing to do with her. But there we go. Now, as I promised, briefly some examples, and then I'll let you go for this video. But here you can see some examples of a starting apprenticeship. This is a law apprenticeship with Shakespeare Martineau, starting in September. Another apprenticeship starting in September, possible start dates here. Another apprenticeship, this one starting in February, but if we look at when it was posted in January. So some effect Labour may have had, I accept, but they may have just been planning to do that all along. Another one posted in January, starting in February. Another one posted in December, starting in April, starting in September, and we're back to the beginning of my tabs. So you see the point here. I think that she's insulting our intelligence, ironically, and I don't think, in my personal opinion, that this is credit to Bridget Phillipson and this Labour government. But I urge you, when you see posts like this, don't just take it at face value. Look behind the post, look for the detail, examine it, and don't just take my word for it. Look through it yourself, form your own opinions, and mine, of course, is just my own opinion. But let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.